Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm here to just bring, I've actually got quite a bundle of things to bring, but I'm probably going to have to do them in two separate videos. So for this video, I'm going to try my best to do, I've got 3 of my kits here, and I've also got 2 collections of the bird book pages. Obviously the bird book pages, they're all unique. Well, all of the items are all unique. The kits are unique, the book pages are unique. So I'm going to pop these out of the way to one side for a moment, and I'll just start with the book pages. So there's pack 1 and pack 2. I'm going to call the Reed Bunting, this bird called Reed Bunting, this will be pack 1 in my shop, and the book pages with the large pheasant, that's going to be pack 2 in my shop. So I shall go through pack 1 first. You will get approximately 28 book pages. Now when I say approximately, what I'm saying is if there's a page without a picture, kind of if it's a double page, so there's a page with a bird and then it's attached to another page with only text, then I will obviously add another picture page. So there will be a minimum of 28 kind of picture pages. So in this particular set, I have included these gorgeous black and white images, which I think are really rather nice. So these were taken from a little tiny vintage bird book, which I picked up recently. Really nice. I did use one as a kind of outside of one of my kits. I haven't used the kit today, but I layered it up with some book page and things and some lace. Actually, I used black lace and it looked really effective and really nice. So there's those. Then there's these ones here, which may or may not be double-sided. I think these might be all text on the rears. So that's quite good because you don't have to then decide which picture that you like best. These gorgeous little owls. So there's those ones. And then there. So there's those pictures. Then here you've got another picture of an owl. So these are from a different vintage book. Absolutely gorgeous pictures. And these are double-sided with pictures, but the rear pictures are actually black and white. So you'll kind of, should have kind of 2 colour, 2 black and whites. So that's those, and you've got ducks on that one. I've also included a bird napkin, you know, for your decoupage and things. So I thought that was nice in keeping with the book pages. And then you've got lots of these larger ones. So I quite like these larger ones. I've used several on tags, and I fussy cut the birds out and then pop them on a tag. And if it's quite a large tag, the bird is just awesome on there. So you've got a selection of different birds here. I've got the raven, such a striking bird. Oh, gorgeous, these ones, aren't they? He's really gorgeous. And these also have little kind of images down the bottom, which are really rather nice because you can kind of cut them out and coffee stain those and kind of even pop them on a kind of chipboard tile. They're that kind of size. Then in this one, you've got lots of these gorgeous little baby birds here. So there's kind of a couple of pages of those. Then these are kind of more birds' heads. Then you've got some eggs here. And a little image there with a bird. Oops, sorry, I just knocked the camera. A bird in its nest. And then here another bird. Another one there. Another owl. Different kind of owl there. And another couple of pages there. And that one there, the turtle dove. Beautiful. And then you've got these very large pages here. So again, these birds can be fussy cut out and used for kind of tags and pockets. These have got some eggs as well on the bottom of these pages. So I'm just going to kind of flick through these slightly quicker now, because otherwise I will be here a very long time, because I do have a lot of items today. So that's pack 1, as I say, with the Reed Bunting bird. So I will try and make sure that that one is visible in the photo. And then this one is pack 2. So very similar in that you've got these black and white images here. So again, taken from vintage book, just these little black and white ones. I rather like these. I think they're quite nice again on pockets and envelopes and things like that. You could even kind of add some glitter or some shimmer mist or something to those. Then you've got these other different vintage kind of smaller book. So you've got again kind of a few of those. Then again I've included a napkin with the birds for your decoupage. And then here you've got a selection of these kind of still small but slightly bigger pages. And again you've got a selection, it's a nice bird, a selection of birds here. Turtle dove again, beautiful. So lots of little birds there. Then obviously this one you've got the pheasant, redwing, that's an attractive bird, isn't it? Yellow hammer. I'm just kind of saying the ones that I think are really quite attractive birds. The white throat, that's a nice one, isn't it? So I've tried to give you a selection of different birds, kind of colourful ones, kind of browner ones, you know, all different ones. Then again you've got a page with some little baby ones, very sweet, and again nice for kind of maybe, you know, punch them out with a circle punch, and then make a little circle kind of chipboard tile. And then here you've just got some large pages again with a selection of birds. This is a lovely bird. So that's those. So as I say, there should be 28 pages in each little pack, but obviously if there's kind of page very text heavy, I will include an extra page so that you get, you know, kind of 28 really nice pages. So that's the book pages. And now on to the kits. So there's 3 different kits here, all of them obviously unique. So I will start with this one here. So I'll just move these two to one side so that they're not kind of distracting. Just move the camera slightly. This one's in a fabric package. This is some upholstery fabric. I've just stitched it together to make a little sack, and then I've just glued on some lace trim and some faux diamante down there. And then I've just glued on a couple of metal buttons there, hopefully you can see those. And then on this one, what I've done is kind of made a fabric flower here in coordinating fabrics. So this has got some of the actual fabric itself, then some of the blue lace and some other coffee dyed lace there. And I've made it quite a flat one so as it wouldn't bulk your journals out too much. And that's just backed on a piece of card there. And that's attached with a bulb pin there. Then again, I've made a little button embellishment, and again, I've done it coordinating with the outside packaging of this particular kit. So this has got some fabric, some lace, and a couple of buttons. Then I've just got here one of these teeny weeny little bulldog clips holding on this little tiny matching fabric sack. And again, I've just stitched a button on there. And inside here, just get all the items out, just check that they've all come out because they do have a tendency to kind of get stuck in there. So in here what I've included some stamped images of things that I rather like using in my journals. So I've got here kind of, oops, tiny frame, hot air balloon, a little stamp and a little journaling spot there. You have to excuse my fingers, they're very inky I'm afraid because I've been doing a lot of inking again, so yes, please excuse my fingers. Then here I've got some more chipboard tiles, and they're just again you know, chipboard covered with scrapbook paper and then stamped images on those, and they've all been distress inked. And then the final image or the final item inside the little bag of the small items is this one here. It's a stamped image of the Eiffel Tower onto some fabric. Got some script stamping, distress inked it, popped it onto some hessian. I've Mod Podged around the edge of the hessian so it's not fraying anymore. And then I've glued on some lace trim just for kind of decorative detail. And it's been stitched on the sewing machine. So that's that item there. And then going inside the bag, again I'll just check that I've got everything. You've got obviously the following paper kind of items. So here you've got a little envelope which just has a flap here tucked into this stamped image. and then obviously kind of an envelope there. So that's all been distress inked, and it just literally tucks in like that. So that's your first kind of paper item. Then you've got this item here, which it's just some scrapbook paper, and then it's got one of my printables, some book page, vintage postage stamp, a couple of flowers, Martha Stewart butterfly, and some lace trim there. And I would just use this as a little tuck spot on a page. I'd probably glue it down on two sides and use it kind of to tuck items in there. Then here you've got a corner tuck spot. Again, I would glue it down like that on the corner of a page. You've got some doily there, paper doily, some vintage sheet music, stamped image, and a piece of lace there, and some stamping. And it's all been kind of distress inked, so it looks nice and vintage. Then here on this one, you've got again some scrapbook paper, layered up, again another piece of my printables, some stamped images there, and a butterfly, and then a ticket here, some lace trim, and some lace trim across the bottom. And again, I would just probably, you know, either stick it down kind of as a full pocket on three sides and use it as a kind of side loading pocket, or I'd just glue it on two sides and have it as a kind of corner tuck. So that's that one. Then the next item here, this one, again, it's some scrapbook paper. It's got various items kind of layered up, and then it's got some lace trim, some fabric ruffle there, which I've just kind of stapled along the side, and then some stamped corners. And again, I mean, I would just glue this down on two sides and use it as a kind of corner tuck there in a journal. So, you know, they're just nice to have and grab and kind of pop them into a journal, because it makes your journal making so much quicker, obviously, if you've got these things ready made. So this one here, this is again some doily. This is a vintage playing card which I've glued down, and this is one of my lady you know, vintage ladies that I've just fussy cut her out and popped her on with some coffee stained lace trim at the bottom and some faux diamante trim there, and stamped images in the corner. And again, I just kind of glue that down either as a kind of full pocket or just on two sides as a kind of tuck spot. And then the final item on this particular kit, this one's got some scrapbook paper, some book page, some vintage sheet music, some lace trim, and some faux diamante. And then here it's just got one of my printables from my die cut printable sets, and that's just acting as a little tuck spot for another one of the printables from the die cut set, which slots in there. And I would just probably use this as a pocket, so I would glue it there three sides and have it as a top loading pocket there. So that's that. So that's the items in that particular, excuse me, got my cold has come back with a vengeance today, so I'm now struggling a little bit, but that's the first one. The second one, just deciding which way around to show these, doesn't really matter, I suppose. So this particular one, it's just a package bound together with some ribbon. So move the ribbon to one side. You've got just a denim pocket here, just decorated with some lace trim and a little bow. And inside there, I've just got a few small items, which you've got a little organza bow. And then you've got a couple of stamped images of items that I rather like using. And they're just stamped onto this buff coloured card. And actually this has got, it's obviously kind of, you know, where I've misstamped. So I apologise for that, but that's on there. I mean, it doesn't bother me, but I just want to point that out. So there's those ones. Then here I've got a chipboard tile, which again, this has just been covered with scrapbook paper, distress inked, and then a crown stamped on there. Then here there's a Tim Holtz rosette with another chipboard tile in the middle and the word Armoire there in the middle. So I'm just distracted by the glue thread from the hot glue gun. Move that to one side. And then you've just got here a little button embellishment, you know, one of my button embellishments that I do. So that's that. So that's your smaller items for this second kit. Now this particular package I thought was rather fun. Basically this was the front cover of some sheet music, and I tore it off. It was literally falling apart anyway, so I mean it was kind of hanging off, so I just kind of tore the rest of it off. And then I thought, oh, I could use that as a journal cover. Well, when I folded it, it's obviously very old and very brittle, and it just kind of, if you can make it out, it kind of cracked and broke really down the middle. So I didn't want to throw it away because I thought it was really rather nice. So what I did was I've just made it into a kind of file folder here and used it obviously as a package for one of the kits. So I have literally glued it down at the bottom, along the bottom edge there, so that it kind of, you know, can hold items in the middle. And then I've used some upholstery fabric down the spine to kind of reinforce it. That was gifted to me by Laura. Got some more upholstery fabric also gifted to me there. And then I've got some more of my coffee dyed lace trim here, some vintage book page, some vintage sheet music. And then this here is one of my vintage lady printables, which I've just printed her out. They're the journaling cards, just printed her out, cut it, and then distress inked her up and popped her on. And these are a couple of my Matchbox tops. Again, just distress inked those and layered them up. Here I've just popped a couple of vintage buttons and a little bow that I made just, you know, because I thought it looked pretty. I have to just point out as well, my glue gun, I've obviously bought really rubbish glue. It's the same glue I've bought before, but I assume they've changed at their end, their supplier. It's just from Amazon, but, you know, it seems to not come out for ages, then it suddenly comes out, and yeah. So I just want to point out that it's quite globby in the middle of that button. So I just want to kind of highlight that really. So your paper items here in this particular kit, if I kind of just go over them, you've got a couple of kind of what I would use as little pockets on the page. So these are just some scrapbook paper. This is one of my die cut pieces, another one of my die cut pieces, and some of my Matchbox tops. This printed onto vellum. So I've just glued that down, some vintage sheet music, lace trim down the side, and I've stitched around the edge there like that. You've got some vintage lace down there and some coffee dyed lace there. So I would just use that probably as a pocket, kind of gluing it on three sides, and use it like that. The second one, very similar. It's the scrapbook paper. You've got some doily, some more of the vintage lace. Again, I've stitched it around the edge for kind of decoration. And here I've got one of those wooden framed pieces, and I've just backed on some coffee dyed paper there, so you could kind of write, you know, a place name, a title, or, you know, anything that you fancied writing in there. So it kind of stood out there. So that's that. Then here I've got a little kind of bag, sack, coin envelope thing, which basically it's just made from some old expansion file folder. I've literally made a kind of bag thing there. And then I've popped on lots of lace, some fabric, some book page, one of my printables there, another one of the printables here, and then just some lace trim in the middle with a little pearl here. So I thought that was rather nice. And, you know, obviously you could get quite a few things in there. Then here I've got a paper clip. I've been having more fun with paper clips, you know, since my tutorial of paper clips, so I've been getting kind of, you know, adventurous with them. So this one, again, this is some of my printables, and I've just layered them up there. I've layered them onto some fabric, some lace trim, and a little bow, and then I've made them exactly the same as I did in my tutorial. So if I just kind of show you how that would look on a journal page, obviously it would just clip on like that and just be on the page. In fact, I should have really done that on a plain side so as it would kind of show up better. It would be like that on a page, so I rather like that. And then here, this is one of my books that I showed in my tutorial for my new, you know, booklet pad page pocket thing. So this here is the one with the kind of 3 pages that I have glued, stitched down, sorry, as pockets. And I've just popped in a couple of my little printables there, just in the kind of pockets. So you just slide up like that, and obviously you've got journaling here and here. And then that just tucks in, obviously at the top of there. And obviously, you know, if you watched along with my tutorial, you'll be familiar with this. If you didn't, I would just kind of glue it down on 3 sides and have it as a pocket like that. So that's that one. And then this one here, this is my other little page pocket that I did a tutorial for. So this ties with string, my very favourite thing. And obviously the flap just tucks in here. Oops, and I forgot that I actually had popped in another one of my printables there as a kind of journaling card. And then you untuck the flap and you just fold it out, and you've got obviously, you know, room for journaling there. So that's that one. And that just goes in, oops, like that, and then obviously just ties around here. And with this one, obviously I would just tend to glue this onto the page, kind of there and there, and have it as a little side pocket as well. So that's your items in the second kit. I would just move them off to the side and show you the final kit, and then I will probably have to do the other items in another video, because I think I'm kind of getting quite, you know, been on quite a long time now. So this is kit number 3. So this one's an altered paper bag. So if I just kind of show you the bag first, I've just decorated the bag here, used the, you know, the flap from the bag to create a pocket. This here is some upholstery fabric. I've popped some vintage book page down here, then I've inked up some lace trim down here. This is that vintage lace trim there. Made a little bow which I've distress inked, so it all looks kind of nice and vintage. This is some vintage sheet music, one of my printables. They're just glued down on there, and then a little bow at the top there. And then inside that pocket I've just enclosed a few little pieces from my printable die cuts. So they've all just been distress inked, you know, ready to use. So that's those. We've got the little typewriter there, also fussy cut out and distress inked, ready to use. And then going over the page, got here a little peg holding just a tiny little fabric ruffle there that's all been coffee dyed, and also holding an organza bow. And then here you've got a bulb pin attached holding this large fabric tag here, which has got a little bow on it, some stamping, a denim heart, and some flowers, some little lace trim and a bit of ribbon and some faux diamante there. And then here, this is a vintage image from, I've got a book of postcards from Jersey, and it's one of those images. So it's not the actual postcard, but it is the actual image from the book, if that makes sense, because the book was images of postcards, and that's been layered up onto some book page and some scrapbook paper. It's all been very heavily distressed, so it looks really nice and vintage. And then coffee dyed lace trim behind it. One of my little printables there, just acting as a little tuck, where I've just attached another one of my printables there. The typewriter, again, it's been distress inked, ready to use. That just tucks there. And then you've just got some more lace trim here and another little bow. That's that one. And then going inside the bag, oops. So this one, obviously, because the bag is quite big, I've managed to contain everything inside the bag. So, sorry, those have now dropped out of the flap. So I should put those back in to the flap there. So inside of the bag, if I kind of separate the smaller items first, so you've got here a little Tim Holtz rosette, which has got this beautiful glittered heart with the word love. So that's that. It's all been distress inked. Then you've got some chipboard tiles here. This one's got a little mulberry flower there, and again they've all been really distress inked in this gorgeous, gorgeous bluey greeny colour. Then you've just got a little button embellishment there with a couple of buttons. And then moving on, there's one of those little match booklets. Not sure what you call them actually. So that just tucks in here like that, and then I've just literally stitched a couple of pages on the sewing machine, so she's got some extra journaling space in there. And it just literally tucks into the flap like that. And it's got some little layered up pieces from my Matchbox tops, and this is from some other of my journaling ephemera pieces. And then it's just got some stitched lace there ruffled up at the bottom. So you could obviously glue that on, probably as a kind of corner tuck or something on a page like that. I did also watch a tutorial from Tracy Fox where she made one of these and she made it into a paperclip. So what she did was obviously untucked this, and then she kind of opened the paperclip out and threaded the paperclip through here. So if you punched a little hole and thread the paperclip through and then fold it over, you could then clip it onto a page. Obviously, you know, it would tuck in and then you could clip it onto a page. So if you purchased this kit and you wanted to do that, you could just check out her tutorial, and this is all made for you. All you'd actually have to do is thread the paperclip through. So that's a little kind of tip there. Then this one here, this is just some vintage sheet music, which I've layered up onto some, you know, cardstock, which has all been coffee dyed. And then here I've just stitched on some coffee dyed fabric lace ruffle. This one of my Matchbox tops again, and layered up onto this gorgeous, gorgeous scrapbook paper. And then I've just done a couple of little pages here, so a kind of little, you know, booklet-y thing. So that just goes like that. And then on the front, again, this was one of my Matchbox tops, one of the larger ones. And I have just layered it up again with that gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous scrapbook paper. And I would just literally glue that down like that and have it as a kind of top loading pocket on a page. So then you've got kind of a top loading pocket and obviously a little kind of pad. Then here, again, another little paperclip that I've made. So again, these are my vintage lady journaling cards that are in my shop. And literally printed her out, distress inked. Then I popped her onto this fabric, stitched around a little bit of it, and then popped on some lace trim here and a couple of buttons. And then obviously on the back, I've just done it exactly per my tutorial where the paperclip's there. So if I just kind of show you here what it would look like on a page, you obviously would just clip it on at the top of the page like that. So there's that included. Here, another one of my gorgeous lady journaling cards. It's all really heavily distressed, and I've just made a little kind of booklet, layered her up on some vintage sheet music and some of the scrapbook paper, you know, for using in your journals. So I love the colour scheme of this kit because I just really, really love this amazing colour. And then here I've just created a little kind of what I would use as a little tuck spot. So again, it's some ivory cardstock that I've just coffee dyed, and then I've stitched on some sheet music, and then I've just taken one of my vintage lady journaling cards, layered her onto some book page, some more of that gorgeous coloured scrapbook paper, just glued that on but hanging off at the edge so it just overlaps slightly, and then stitched on some trim down the bottom. And I would just use this as a kind of corner tuck on a page. So if I just kind of grab something just to kind of show you, so if this were the page, I would just literally glue it down on two sides and have it there as a kind of corner tuck from that angle. So that's that one. And then the final one, this again is another one of my little pieces which I showed on my tutorial that I did this week, of my little folding booklet pad thingy magees. So this was one of the ones that I actually did show, and you've just got obviously several pages there. Another one of my Matchbox tops which acts as a closure, and that just closes there. So again, I mean, you just obviously glue down just this bottom piece because these pieces are loose pages, and then obviously that would be kind of working like that. Obviously, you know, if you wanted to alter this, if you checked out my tutorial, if you haven't watched it, then you could obviously create this into a kind of pocket situation, where you could have these little, you know, pockets from the bottom. So that's kit number 3. So I hope that you like them. I think they're, you know, fun. I think they're all quite different. So I have got, obviously, as I say, lots more things to show you, but I probably will have to do them now in another video because I'm, you know, zapping up lots of time. So thanks very much for tuning in, and I will catch you later once I do my next video. So thanks very much then. See you later. Bye.